orphan cub who was found exhausted and frostbitten in the wastes of Siberia. And instead of keeping her captive, they managed to release her back into the wild.
Parks Canada has reintroduced a herd of 16 wild plains bison to a remote valley in Banff. As Bill McFarlane explains, it's a day many years in the making.
By bringing in the bison, it's helping us to weave back that rare ecosystem.
In here is Wunda, and now she has a will to live, and here she is about to come out into this paradise.
It's one of the most moving things that's ever happened to me.
A chimpanzee embracing its owner, an elephant shedding tears of joy,
He seems pretty happy about it.
and a leopard rushing towards the wild. All this explains what freedom means to these animals, and desiring it for a long time, they give the strangest reactions ever. So, tag along to watch the shocking responses of animals while being freed for the first time. Meet Zolushka, the tiger with all the luck. She had a rough start, as she lost her mom to poachers when she was just a tiny cub. But thanks to some caring people, she got a second chance. After getting some love and care, they finally decided to set her free in Russia. And let me tell you, it was quite the moment. Wildlife workers, all geared up, waited anxiously for her big release. With cameras rolling and hearts pounding, Zolushka rushed out of her cage and ran into the wild, ready to start her new adventure. Orangutan release went wrong. On the Rungan River, a team was releasing an adult male orangutan, and for that they headed for the quieter side of the Bungama Island, where female orangutans usually hang out. They were about to set one of the jungle's residents free, but things took an unexpected turn. The team's arrival made one of the orangutans really uneasy, and as they prepared for the release, one of the animals grew impatient in its cage, while another watched from afar. The fuming goodbyes lasted for some time, before Jerry, the alpha male, decided to let things go. And there they all in peace in their new home. Elephant release. Bad days don't last long, and they didn't for this elephant too. Named Kum Min, this majestic animal belonged to northern Thailand. And guess what? He's about to break free. Yes, and as he gets ready for this big moment, you see how he's wagging his tail like crazy.
This is Kamoon at the release site where we're setting him free.
As you know that elephants are super smart, Kum Min also realized that this was his chance to live a real elephant life. He's leaving behind his old life and heading into the jungle, where he belongs. And with each step, his excitement grows.
Free elephant! He seems pretty happy about it.
And let me tell you, he's not wasting any time. His tail is practically dancing with joy as he is released back into the wild, ready for a new chapter of freedom.
Off you go.
Penguins Release celebration. Back in October 2016, 13 lucky penguins got the VIP treatment. They were being released into the wild by the Southern Africa team. How cool is that?
Today's the African Penguin Festival. And what we do is we release some of the penguins that have been through rehabilitation back into the wild.
A big celebration was happening all about these awesome penguins. These penguins had been through some rough stuff, you know? But now they're all set to spread their wings and dive back into the ocean where they belong.
I'm here to see the big penguins and now they go into the water.
It was a fresh start for them, and everyone was cheering them on.
They look like small and birds and cute.
Chimps heartwarming release. Wunda, a rescued chimpanzee, found a new lease on life after being saved from the bushmeat trade. After all the love and care, she was finally ready to head back to the wild where she belonged. When she was set free, she gave Jane Goodall the biggest hug ever, almost like saying, "Thanks for everything."
This is a really exciting moment for me. Here is Wunda. Now she has a will to live, and here she is about to come out into this paradise.
It was such a sweet moment that showed how much animals can feel. Wunda's hug was like a big old thank you card to Goodall for giving her a second chance at life. Here's another heart-touching moment caught on camera when Vanilla, a 28-year-old chimp, experienced the open sky for the very first time. Vanilla, who had been living indoors, was thrilled as she looked up at the sky with wonder. With the alpha male cheering her on, Vanilla cautiously stepped into the open. Her eyes were filled with amazement. Bison return. 4 bison, missing from their ancestral home for over 140 years, finally returned to Badlands National Park in South Dakota. It's been a long wait since 1877. These majestic creatures were set free in the newly expanded area, covering over 80,000 acres. On October 11th, these 4 adult bison bulls were released in the Pinnacles area, marking a celebratory and historic event. For these bison, it was a meaningful homecoming, guided by their genetic memories. Their ancestors roamed these lands centuries ago, making this return a symbolic and poignant moment in time. And I'm sure these mighty bison will blaze a trail for others, setting the stage for a grand return to their rightful home. Elephants Release. Absolutely! It's heartwarming to see people showing compassion and care for animals. Let's talk about the day of July 2007, when some elephants got released. They were both older ones and younger ones all ready for a move. The older ones were going north to join the younger ones at a new place. They all got prepared, while the older ones waited a bit. Finally, after an 8-hour trip, they reached their new home.
8 hours later, we've finally arrived. Hello, gorgeous.
And see, everyone was so excited to get out of the truck and explore. They even had a mud bath to cool off after the journey. It was really a big day for these elephants, taking their first steps into freedom. And that's something worth celebrating.
These elephants are so relieved to get out of those trucks. And they're so hot, and this is the perfect way to cool down.
Spider Monkey Troop. Now, here are these spider monkeys getting a fresh start in the wild. Across their homes, these monkeys have been declining in numbers, down by more than half in the last 45 years. But now, there's hope, because this rescue center has released their 8th troop to boost the wild population.
We've done pretty much everything we can, and this is the culmination of it.
They're here, all ready to explore their new home. The team has done everything they can to prepare them for this moment, and now it's time to wish them luck and let them go.
It's been a very long journey with them, with various ups and downs, and now here they all are. So you couldn't ask for anything really better.
And as the troop went off into their new world, there was one monkey who was a bit hesitant. He needed a little nudge to leave the safety of his enclosure. But once he was out there, it's pure joy. Seeing them swing through the trees where they belong was an incredible feeling for the team.
It's really happy. It doesn't look like it's happy. It's just incredible.
K, a shark release. After spending 4 years in an aquarium, Kay the shark was finally set free into the wild. This female ragged-toothed shark had been chilling at the Two Oceans Aquarium since 2009, after being caught in Hamburg, East London. And on April 11th, 2013, she was released back into the ocean, with the whole operation caught on video. It was a team effort to ensure she made it back to her ocean home safely. They even tagged her to track her movements for the next decade. Let's hope Kay is enjoying her newfound freedom and living her best marine life. Chimps. Now, check out a heartwarming story from January 2018, when a bunch of curious chimps stepped out into the world for the first time. There were 9 girl chimps and 6 boy chimps, all ready to check out what's beyond their usual walls. When they first set foot outside, you could see the excitement in their eyes. Some were a little nervous and ran back inside, while others bravely explored ahead. But what really got everyone smiling was when they started climbing trees. They looked so happy and free, swinging around and waving at their keepers through the windows. Truly, it was a sight to behold. Orcas set free for the first time. I bet it's a tale that will surely warm your heart. 12 belugas and 10 orcas, once stuck in Russia's whale jail, got their lucky break as they were set free.
10 orca have now been released, and 12 beluga have now been released.
Just imagine their joy as they swam into the open ocean after almost a year. With the help of the crane, the whales were picked up from a tank and moved into the open water. Now it's like a big celebration in the ocean, with these amazing creatures enjoying their newfound freedom after being stuck for so long. Rhino Release. Nepal's WWF decided it was time to give a rhino the taste of freedom in March 2016. First off, they tracked him down, and then they gently loaded him onto a custom truck. Now, witness this massive rhino ready for his big adventure. Off he went on his journey to Bardia National Park. You won't believe it, but to make sure he got there safe and sound, they called in the cavalry. Yep, 33 elephants joined the entourage leading the way. And with a whopping 250-strong team of humans, it was more like a carnival parade with a rhino as the star of the show. Leopard's wild return. Back in July 2021, in Agra, Uttar Pradesh, there was some serious buzz about a leopard showing up where it shouldn't be. This big cat took a wild run through the town and ended up hiding in a fruit storage room. Surrounded by people, it was probably just as frightened as those people were of it. But don't worry, guys. The Forest Department and Wildlife SOS stepped in to help. They calmed him down, gave him a proper checkup, and then released him into the wild. In Saharanpur's Shivalik Range, watch this lucky big cat setting free and going back into the wild as some hero returns to their home base. Giant sea turtle. This sea turtle is definitely thrilled to swim back to the ocean. Named Munchkin, this giant sea turtle was found stranded on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. She was in a rough spot, cold, underweight, and with flippers not in a good state. But thanks to the awesome team at the rehab center, Munchkin got back on her fins. After 8 months of TLC and rehab, she was ready to head home. And here, the big day came, and with cheers and applause, Munchkin dove back into the ocean. Now she's out there swimming strong, adding to the population of loggerhead turtles. It's a happy ending for our seafaring friend. Bear's revenge. Seems like animals have a knack for payback too. Wildlife workers in Montana were relocating a 22-year-old grizzly that kept raiding chicken coops up in the northern Whitefish Range. They moved him to a wilder spot to avoid more trouble. Now, when they popped open the trap, guess what this bear did? He went straight for the camera. As soon as that door opened, he burst out like a rocket, almost taking the camera with him. Seems like he wanted to give those humans a taste of their own medicine. 3 hippos set free. On May 21st, 2021, something special went down at Mapisu Private Game Reserve. 3 hippos were getting ready to hit the wild. The Mapisu team was super excited, holding their breath as the first hippo made its big entrance, zooming off to the left. The team watched from the container where the hippos were set to be released, while others peeked from their vehicles. Then, it was Mom and Baby Hippo's turn. Without hesitation, they headed straight for the swamp, diving in and starting to swim. And just like that, they were off on their wild adventure, hoping they live happily ever after out there in the big, wild world. Polar bear released. After spending 30 days in a polar bear holding facility, Big Bear, a hefty fellow, is finally getting his ticket to freedom. He got into some trouble when he quarreled with one of Brian Lagoon's puppies in downtown Churchill. The conservation team had a busy summer dealing with marauding bears prowling around the town, and this Big Bear is one of them. And now, it's time to send him back to the wild. Since he's so massive, the helicopter can't fly him too far. It's risky business flying a 1,000-pound bear.
Because of the size of him, the helicopter can't go such a distance because of his sheer weight. So we'll try to get as far as we can. That's one of the largest bears that I've handled. The size of his head and his paws, it's really impressive.
But thankfully, the release goes smoothly. But in Churchill, known as a polar bear town, residents hope bears like Big Bear will stay away from the town in the future. Wolves Reintroduction Plan. Let's have a look from December 2023, when something historic happened in Colorado. After like forever, wolves made a big comeback in western Colorado. So these wolves weren't just picked randomly, they were carefully caught and checked out in Oregon before being flown to Grand County in Colorado. Look at these 5 wolves all ready to explore their new digs. And wait, let me reveal that this wasn't just a random idea, but a big deal voted on by the people. So despite some ups and downs, these tough wolves made it back to the wild where they belong. Now, you might just hear their howls echoing through the Colorado mountains once again. Zebras. At South Africa's Ukuwela Conservancy, 11 zebras found their safe home in April 2018. They were brought there to be reintroduced into the wild, as their previous home was under threat from bushmeat poachers. With no other choice, the owner decided to set them free at KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa's conservancy. Here's the moment when they were all ready to enter the wild world. No need to worry, as it was a safer place for them to roam and live freely. Now, these zebras have the chance to thrive and enjoy a better life in their new home. Giant Stingray Release. Imagine an era when whale populations are dwindling and sightings are rare. Then, out of nowhere comes a majestic sight. Moby Dick rises from the depths. But instead of a whale, it's a colossal freshwater stingray named Boromee. This giant, weighing a whopping 661 pounds, was accidentally caught in the Mekong River in Cambodia. Thankfully, Boromee was released back into the river, setting a record for the heaviest freshwater fish ever caught.
We've just released our giant stingray back into the wild. As you can see, she's kind of hanging out on the surface of the river here.
Now, scientists are using the data from its tracking to better understand and protect this delicate ecosystem. 1 million pigeons release. Now, here's something really unbelievable. In Portugal, millions of racing pigeons were set free into the sky. Don't you think it was more like a sea of wings filling the air? Each bird trained to find its way home over a measured distance. But wait, this isn't just a casual bird release, but it's pigeon racing. Now, you might think pigeon racing is all fun and games, but there's more to it. Behind the scenes, there's a whopping $15 million a year in illegal gambling tied to this hobby nationwide. And here's the reason. Most of these feathered racers won't make it. It's a tough reality for these birds, but it's the truth. 14 white-tailed deer set free. Check out this big moment when 14 white-tailed deer were set free. After hunting season ended, it was time for these hungry deer to hit the road. They were tiny when they first arrived, but now they're strong and ready for the wild. With a bit of coaxing, they hopped onto the trailer and headed off to a new spot by Long Lake. The team at the rehab center had their worries about winter, but they're feeling hopeful these deer will do just fine. As they went off into the wilderness, it was a moment of hope and excitement for their new journey ahead.
It's old age or something, but I seem to worry about them more, but I'm sure they'll be fine.
Orphan Bear Release. Back in May 2014, a bear rescue center in Russia, about 350 kilometers from Moscow, came to the rescue of orphan baby bears. They nursed these little furballs until they were big and strong enough to head back into the wild. The team at the center made sure these bears had all the skills they needed to thrive on their own. From learning how to find food to staying safe in the forest, these bears got the full crash course. And when they were all grown up, it was time to say goodbye. With a mix of nerves and excitement, these bears set off to start their new adventure in the wild. Seals set free. A U.S. Marine Institute did a wonder when on December 9, 2007, it released seals back into the wild. A group of people joined them for the big moment. See how these seals were ecstatic to return to their natural habitat, full of energy and excitement. Truly, it was a heartwarming sight to see them dive back into the ocean, ready to enjoy their freedom once again.
No, I'm videotaping them.
Captive bred lions release. You know, some people say that you can't turn city lions into wild ones? Well, the South African Predator Association and their buddies are proving them wrong. They're like, watch us. With a little help from their friends, they were making it happen. They handpicked a lion couple and another lion, and after some paperwork and prepping with meds and vaccines, they shipped them off to nature reserves. And guess what? These lions didn't just survive, they thrived. Hunting, exploring, living their best lives. Take that, doubters! Snowy owl release. Rehabilitation centers go all out to give animals a second shot at freedom. And guess what? One wildlife haven rehabilitation center in Canada just let a snowy owl go. A handful of people also gathered to witness a sight of this beautiful creature taking flight and returning to its natural habitat. After hanging out in rehab for a while, this majestic bird got its wings back and was all ready to be set free. I hope you can imagine its excitement as it soared into the sky for the first time in ages. Wild horses. It's a beautiful sight to see wild horses being set free, returning to where they belong, the untamed wilderness. Captured in a moment of pure freedom, these majestic creatures gallop towards the open expanse, eager to embrace their independence and live life on their own terms. This moment captures the innate desire for freedom that pulses within every wild animal, and their joyous return to their natural habitat is simply heartwarming. Indeed, these horses rightfully deserve to roam the wild, and witnessing their happiness fills the heart with joy. Condor's freedom. Check it out! Angel, an Andian condor, is back in the wild after getting some care in Mendoza, Argentina. Claudio Gutierrez caught the moment on camera when this majestic bird, named Angel by its rescuers, spread its wings and soared into the sky on November 3rd. The bird got sick from eating something bad back in September 2023. But thanks to some awesome wildlife carers, Angel's back where it belongs. It's like a real-life superhero origin story, showing how a little love and care can help our feathered friends fly free again. Hats off to those who made it happen. The subscriber's pick. Well, isn't it amazing to see a rare wild animal get a second chance at freedom? Meet Philippa, a Siberian tiger who was found alone and starving in 2015, likely orphaned by poachers. All thanks to the efforts of the Center for Rehabilitation and Reintroduction of Tigers and Other Rare Animals that Philippa got the care and training she needed to survive in the wild. After almost 2 years of rehab, she was released into the Russian wilderness on April 29, 2017. Equipped with a GPS collar for monitoring, this 90-kilogram tiger is now back where she belongs, ready to thrive in her natural habitat. Let's hope her story inspires more efforts to protect endangered species and stop poaching for good.